Live. There we are out. Hello.
All
We
right.
are the Fan Pub. I'm Sean. This is Al. And he's back with us. The Wanderer's returned from America. He's had a great trip, haven't you?
Yeah, 3 weeks away. Yeah, so
From us. Left me alone. Felt like a divorce, but we're back. So, lots to talk about. Obviously, fantasy teams, you're doing quite well in the live leagues. You're doing quite well in some leagues and other leagues. It's desperation
no,
time, isn't it?
in the main, I'm doing pretty well. So I'm
Yeah.
quite happy with.
I'm all over the place, if I'm honest. I've got some good ones, some middle ones, and some that are clinging on. They're not horrendous. It's not like they're 0 and 6.
They're the ones I want to hear about.
Yeah, do you? I'm hanging on. But it's come to that time of the year where if you'd like me in a couple of leagues, it's 2 and 4. It's win now. Or
Well,
go
you
home.
know, it is their show, really, isn't it? So
Yeah.
we still don't. It is. Yeah, it's live. We are live.
Fantasy, we're live.
So
Okay, so where would you like to start this week? As we're live early, we'll just see if anybody joins us. Of course, it is your show. If you have any questions, then do shoot them over. And what we'll try to inevitably do is answer them as we go along. So where would you like to start?
well, let's start with the 49ers at the Redskins.
Well, they've been excellent, haven't they, the 49ers this year? Before we talk about the matchup, what do you think of them overall? I mean, they've been fantastic. What's the key ingredient to their success?
I think they've just been great. I mean, so much improved. They kind of come out of nowhere. They've been sort of disappointing the last few years. I've always rated Shanahan as a coach, quite
Yeah.
inventive.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
quite frustrating to own one of the running backs if you play fantasy because they rotate them. so much.
Breeder's been good and down, up and down. But in some leagues, I've actually got a very successful team. He's been a big part of that. Even though he's a bit inconsistent, he's still vitally important to the team. So,
Welcome, Anthony. You've got a question in already.
yeah, lovely. We'll answer it.
Carlos Hyde or Montgomery? So we've got Carlos Hyde.
Always look at the matchups, is the
yeah.
goal.
He's at the Colts.
They've played quite well, good defence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colts quite good against the run. They're ninth best team
I
against
just
the run.
think Montgomery is slowly picking up more carries and then gaining more and more trust each week that's going along. He is starting to get better, and they are giving him goal line chances.
And Montgomery's sort of snap share's gone up every week as well, which is always good to hear.
I quite fancy him personally this week, although both matchups are quite tough. To be honest with you, I know.
Yeah, Saints.
Good run defense.
So you've got the fifth hardest team against the run, which is the Saints, and you've got the ninth. So there's not a lot in it game-wise.
I just trust Montgomery more than I do Hyde. To be honest, just personally,
It's very tight. It's a tough decision. It
Yeah.
is.
I'm just liking the ramping up. If I'm honest, I just like the way that they're utilising Montgomery.
Yeah,
And-
and the Bears are at home, and the defense could give you short fields. I suppose the Texans are a higher powered offense, you'd say though.
Oh,
But
without
then
doubt.
he does split the work with Duke, whereas
Deshaun Watson is one of those quarterbacks we've rated for 2 years now on the show. We know what he's capable of, and we know how. And he's obviously up there in the stats this year already.
Yeah.
When they go in close, the only worry, of course, is he can sneak them in, Deshaun Watson. Whereas you don't seem to have that worry with the Bears. They tend to get into the running game.
I suppose that.
So I mean, Hyde got a good touchdown last week, but that is the exception rather than the rule.
I suppose. If you do look at the quarterbacks for how they can move the team down the field, you got Trubisky who's sort of
Okay.
was questionable all week with an injury, but is likely to play
Yeah. Yeah.
against somebody with a high powered offense. I'd say Montgomery will probably have the most snaps. Maybe the most.
I just think Montgomery's going to get a little bit more work, but this is a close one. But I'm going to stick my neck out on Montgomery. You're welcome if you want to go with Hyde. You can call Hyde. That's how it is.
I'd say it is a really
it is
close
that
one.
close. I personally like Montgomery, but then I suppose I've been a bit biased. But I've seen his share going up, and I'm seeing. I like the fact personally, from my personal opinion, I like the way the Bears have started to give him more confidence. They've started to let him have more chances on the goal line to go in, and he's taking them now.
Well, I noticed that the Mike Davis actually missed due to a personal reason the other day, so that never goes down well with coaches unless it's something obviously family related.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's some other issue, then that really cements Montgomery in as a.
I think we're already sort of seeing those signs of that now, and what we hope will happen, and this is the key to the success, because if you've got him on your teams, this is where you need to see that ramping up, that improvement, isn't it? Early doors is great to have the success, and that's brilliant. But as long as your teams are in the hunt, you're okay. But what you're looking for is those players that come on as the season nears the end.
Yeah, Montgomery's
and he
definitely. I mean,
got a chance
both
to
of
do
them
that.
really. Hyde sort of. He's become the main runner, like we said he would, because Duke's
Yeah.
the third down back. He'll get
Yeah.
the
But that also adds another element. We're still that is one part where this is so even because they're not really. Well, that's not true. I was going to say Montgomery isn't getting that many catches, but when he is getting them, he looks excellent going down the field. So he is better than Hyde at that, without a shadow of a doubt. So there are a few ingredients where I think he will continue.
So what
to
does your
gain the
gut
trust.
say then?
Montgomery, I'm going to.
I mean, Anthony himself says the only choices he has due to bye weeks. It's a tough decision.
And
Not
a
much
lot
in
of
it.
people have got these. I've got exactly the same scenario. There's several of these where you're thinking, I'm not sure what to do. I'm going to go with Montgomery this week. Do you?
Okay.
Do you want to? Would you go the same? You can. I mean, obviously, the whole point of it is you can go different if you think. To give him a real nightmare, we could go different. But
No,
I
no,
like
no.
Montgomery.
No, I'm happy to go with Montgomery as well.
Great. Well,
yeah.
there you go, Anthony. We both backing you, and we wish you all the very best with that. And thank you very much for the question. Please keep them coming.
And Mark Vella says hello. He's a good fan of the show.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, and a big thumbs up to Mark because consistently every single week that we've been live. We apologise for last week. We had internet problems the week before, and last week I wasn't very well, if I'm honest. I was in a very, very bad place. I didn't feel too good at all last week, and there's no point coming online if you're not right. No point. And obviously Al's only just returned from holiday, so we can't exactly
I'm fine. I've been away.
throw
for 3
him
weeks,
in
so-
front of the camera like a red oyster, can we? Yep.
Like a red oyster.
Or lobster, depending on the
Red
food.
lobster, yeah, that's more like it.
Okay, so we had another question come through.
Yeah, Anthony again.
Yep.
Josh Allen or Daniel Jones?
Oh, it's Josh Allen all day long for me here this week.
Yeah.
More consistent, been around longer. Great matchup against Miami.
Against the Dolphins.
It's a fabulous, fabulous situation, and I'm lucky enough to have quite a few shares of him because of what we talked about with him a couple of years ago. So particularly in Dynasty, looking to reap the reward on that this week, hopefully with a good points haul, I hope.
I mean, if there's ever a week to start Josh Allen, it's against any quarterback really. It's against the Dolphins.
Yeah, who literally are just in absolute tank mode, have been in tank mode since almost week 2, and that doesn't look like it's going to abate anytime soon, does it?
I mean, obviously, Daniel Jones is capable of points. It's a nice looking game against the Cardinals.
I mean, just think of it this way, right? So, I mean, for Josh Allen's benefit, you've got Singletary coming back this week, and they've done well without him, but when he's in there, it's another dynamic to the team, so they'll be able to move the ball down the field. I think Miami are going to get roasted by this guy. If he's all the way back, he could be excellent this week. So we'll see. But, yeah, that's how I would go with. Are you with me on that one?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this matchup then that you originally brought up. So we were talking about the 49ers at the beginning against
the Redskins.
Okay, I think we've got to keep with the 49ers.
It'd be a shock if they didn't win at this stage.
They're in a good role, and it'd be hard to bet against them at this moment in time. I just think all round they look very solid, don't they?
Yeah, I mean their defense has improved a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously, adding Bosa has made a big difference with getting pressure on the quarterback. And a few of the other guys are stepping up as well. So it looks actually quite a good defense.
Just
now.
all round, the team just looks solid. I mean, that's all I can really say. I mean, I just think it bodes so well for the future of the 49ers when you look ahead to next year and the year after. They just look like a team that just adds one or two pieces, and they're going to be very, very good. Really, really interesting. And then hopefully what will settle down is we'll get some real good eyes on who are the real fantasy producers in that team. But I've liked what I've seen from Breed.
Well, Breed is. I've been a big fan of him. He's always been one of the guys that I've always thought he's perennially underrated.
Helped a couple of my teams out for sure.
I mean, Coleman's actually getting more snaps than him, but Breeder, I still think he's the best back.
Well, he makes the best of his opportunities.
I'm not sure if he still is, but
definitely got a few more questions coming in, so let's have a look at those.
Okay.
So we both agree with the 49ers for this week on that one. What else have we had come through?
Okay, from Mark, can you help me with my 2 receivers and flex?
We'll certainly
Lockett,
try.
Jeffrey, John Brown, McLaurin, Kirk Breeder or Hyde. I have Bell and Henry as my RBs. So it's 2 receivers. So we got Lockett. I think is Kirk out?
Yeah, I think so.
Christian Kirk's out, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he's certainly questionable. McLaurin's been pretty. I mean, you got to probably.
It's hard to go against McLaurin given the recent form that he's been in.
I don't know, but if you look at the other ones, you got John Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, against the Dolphins. I mean,
yeah.
If you watch Week 1, the reason that Marquise Brown had a breakout game is because they were throwing deep to him, and they couldn't stop it.
No.
And John Brown, probably at this stage, is better than Marquise Brown. that was his first game in the NFL.
But have the Miami Dolphins improved enough to stop it, or do they want to stop it? I suppose that's the question.
Well, do they want to stop anything?
Do they want to stop it? And
what was interesting about the Dolphins is they had a chance to tie last week and they didn't take it, and they called the worst play in history. They threw a screen to a guy, didn't try and
who
block.
was never going to get the yards anyway.
Yeah, and they didn't even try and block the people in front. It's almost like they gave up on the game, I thought. But I don't know if that was just me.
Well,
or
it's probably
it was just a poor play.
I think when you're a player, I mean, I can't speak for this because I've not been in a situation where I've been in a bad team. So, but all I can comment is players that I know who have been in bad teams. They play their heart out because they feel pride's on the line. And actually, when you're talking about NFL, your job's on the line as well for the future of yourself. So, one would hope the Miami Dolphins would be trying all the time, even if the results don't show through on the field. But it's certainly some management calls have been very dubious, to say the least.
Okay, so let's start. So we need two receivers out of Lockett, Jeffrey, John Brown, and McLaurin.
I can't go against what you said about Brown.
The 49ers are the fifth best team against the throw-in, so that could limit McLaurin.
I think we've got it he did get banged up a bit, so I think we're going to have to take McLaurin out of the picture. I think we have to look at John Brown because of what you said about Miami. And
Miami are 25th against.
Have Miami stopped anybody deep? The answer simply is no. So
and I think Xavier Howard. I think he's Xavier Howard's he's definitely questionable this week as well.
So
especially if he doesn't play,
I quite like the idea of myself. I quite like the idea of going Lockett and John Brown.
I think you've got to play Lockett and Brown.
That's the route.
Jeffrey's
I would go down.
Playing at Dallas, isn't he?
Yeah. Dallas have been all right.
And who would you play then? I suppose if you're playing Brown and Lockett, is that a Jeffrey, Breeder, and Hyde for the flex position?
Well, we'll stick with our Breeder, I think, and the reason being that I still think when people say that it's because his games have been a little bit like this, he's now due an up game, so I'm going to go with Breeder.
Yeah, I mean it's more opportunity for him. Although, what the Redskins like against the run,
pretty good,
28th. So that's a good opportunity for running backs, but and game scripts are always going to be good.
So happy with that then? That's the advice we're going to go with this week. Hopefully that helps you.
I don't know. I mean, Jeffrey is the wide receiver one at the Eagles, though.
Yeah.
And you've got Deshaun Jackson out. So Aguilar's the other guy.
Well, you're looking at it. I mean, all of them could produce some points, obviously, but what you're looking at is where they can go bang. And I think John Brown, you've highlighted.
John Brown's a very boom player.
I think this week,
especially in this week, I'd be.
Particularly if you've. I mean, you could look at this in two ways actually for this question. If you've got a matchup where you feel you're in control, you can play safe and put Jeffrey in. If you think that the game is too close to call, I'd go with the boom. So I'd put.
Or
John
even
Brown
if you had a bad start, say Mahomes or
if you
Damien Williams.
if you've had a bad start to the week,
then definitely go John Brown.
Then definitely go John Brown. So that's how I would look at it personally.
Yeah.
I like Lockett. I think he's been pretty good all year actually, and particularly in PPR, I don't think he's been too bad. So
he also said he's worried about the rain for McLaren.
Yeah, I mean, Breeder for me.
I think Breeder and Jeffrey, I'd be 50-50 with them.
So you've
got not bad options though.
No, nice options to have. I wish I had them.
I mean, Hyde's not a bad option either. But
no, he's not. No. Is there more questions?
You can't play them all.
Looks like there might be some more.
Yeah, Anthony Shapiro again.
Yeah.
Apologies, Anthony, for
really appreciate
your surname.
Really appreciate the comments, Anthony, and thanks for sending the questions in. And thank you for watching the show. Really appreciate that.
I streamed QBs. Started Allen the first few weeks of the season, then released him, and I was looking to get him back for this matchup a couple of weeks ago.
You are enough.
But something keeps telling me to go for Jones. Daniel Jones.
Well, I mean, why would you want to go with Daniel Jones? Seriously, I mean, I appreciate.
Arizona are the worst team against. They're 32nd ranked against. They're both cornerbacks have been out all year.
These are the kind of questions I would ask, though, right? So if we look at first of all Daniel Jones throwing options, so who's there for him? Who's he going to throw?
Well, he's got Ingram back. He's got Golden Tate. Slayton, he's still knocking about, isn't he?
Any of those.
I think Shepard's out.
Yeah,
I think,
Shepard's out. So you got to look at Slayton for this week, I think.
Well, I think Tate's the main man, isn't he? And Ingram.
But is it?
Oh, you got Barkley back, of course, as well.
But we don't know how far back. This is a tough injury. This. I mean, I know he's come back, but to me, I would worry that he should be on a snap count. So you can't really, And if he does come in and they play him full on, that's a risk. So. I mean, I massively admire anybody that comes back from injury this quick, but this is a bit of a risk.
News just in: David Johnson's active this week, just in case you're worried about him.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about him actually. I will.
What do you think? I mean, if you're a fantasy player
Yeah.
and your hunch is to go for Daniel Jones,
Yeah,
would you rather follow your hunch?
you got to go yourself, right?
Yeah.
So,
if that's your hunch player.
yeah, you got to do it yourself because
You'll be kicking yourself if you take advice and it's wrong.
Yeah, look, we will always try and be honest here, and I mean, if you look at, and I've been trying to follow this quite closely because there are times you can doubt yourself, particularly in fantasy, and I think this is important, right? So I've made some brave calls, some have backfired, some have been accurate, but I looked back at everything we've said in this live show, and we're currently at 74%. So everything I've said of 74, that's excellent.
Yeah, but I'm
because-
on now. I'll take
no,
that
well,
right
that's
down.
okay.
Well,
So
I think I
I'm
can fix
happy.
that.
I'm happy with that because anything above sort of 60, you're great. That's the golden. So for me, that's a gold thing. Because there are times I thought, oh, you know, I made a mistake with this guy. I've said the wrong thing. But you can't get it all right. But if you ever reach that point where you really believe and you really believe in it, then you've got to follow your own hunch in because you will regret it, as Al says. And there's nothing worse in fantasy than not doing that.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse. My personal opinion
I
is...
don't think there's that much in it, but
I think both-
I would go.
Both are great options. It's just that this is why I would spell out. This is why I would defend Allen in this situation for two reasons. Okay,
Josh Allen, not
Josh
me.
Allen, not this.
He'd
Allen.
never defend
Although
me.
I'll try and defend him occasionally. He doesn't give me any credit for it, but I do try. This is why I would go with him. Obviously, it's Miami. We know they're in absolute full tank mode. They're doing nothing right. I think the Bills are a very much improving team. They've got Singletary back this week, which is going to help the passing game no end because those dump-off passes Singletary are going to be fantastic. They've given him enough time to recover from, the hamstring. So he's had time, the bye week, everything else.
Concussion as well.
He was ready 2 weeks ago and they've given him the time.
Oh,
so he's fully back. So I think Josh Allen has had a whole year of play experience before. He's now into this season. People can already see a much improved quarterback that they're excited about going into next year, let alone this year. Daniel Jones, we've liked on this show. We do like him. We said give him time and see what he can do. And he has inspired the Giants to some wins.
He has actually,
You know, and I appreciate that. And as Al rightly points out, both could be good matchups this week. And both are viable. But I just prefer the guy with a more consistent hand and the guy, let's not forget it, who has fantastic footwork.
Yeah.
Against a team that is absolutely all over the place, and I think that's why I would go with him.
I think if he had a tougher matchup, then it'd be closer.
I would go Daniel Jones
because Daniel Jones has got a great matchup against Cardinals. He could well put up a lot of points.
Yes,
there,
he could,
because that defense is rubbish.
Yeah. So if that hasn't convinced you, then I totally get it. Go with Jones. That's.
Yeah, I mean, if that's your hunch, follow your hunch. There's not a lot in it, but
yeah.
I think we both go the other way. But
yeah, I think it's a great option. I mean, I think you're in a great position. You've got both those. You're laughing, really. I mean, if both don't get you close to 20 in a standard league scoring, if they both don't get you close to 20 plus points, that'd be a bit disappointing.
And both could actually go further than that.
Much further, yeah.
If the game goes how
if you get a quick start in a game, if both these guys get off to a quick start and both the teams, first quarter are 14 up or more, you could be on for 25 plus day, and that's just amazing.
Okay, Mark's thanking you for the advice.
No, you're welcome.
Oh, so he did have Mahomes, so he's going to go Brown for the boom.
Yeah, good man. Okay, that's
obviously with boom comes bust sometimes. But
yeah, well,
you got to go for it.
I mean, I've got Mahomes in one league and nearly made him. It's really weird. This I was saying to our off camera beforehand. I nearly made a trade for Mahomes because I had a team that was you kind of could see was going to struggle. And I was thinking about getting a player that could come in and ignite it. And I didn't do it because there were a few things in my head. I've had bad luck with quarterbacks and things have gone wrong when it comes to live leagues. And again, he got injured. I'm quite shocked. I mean, that's a big loss, isn't it?
Yeah, you're a bit freaky with things like that.
Really weird how it happens sometimes.
Yeah,
but I didn't actually pick him up. But I have got him in another league and haven't got off to the best of starts. Could be a tough week there. We'll see. Anyway.
Just to confirm, Christian Kirk is inactive. That news has just come in.
Yeah,
so
excellent.
That's one less decision for you to make. He's definitely not going to bet your team.
Yeah, we had a feeling about that before the
yeah,
show.
It wasn't trading work.
You always kind of get a feel. We've been discussing a few of these players, but anyway, we'll come back to the next.
We've got another
question. We'll go with it.
Mark, that is excellent. I know you guys are betting a lot of guys with 100k suppliers. Very kind, Mark. Thank you for the support as always. It's always good to hang out with some of you guys. Toby, who plays in the originals with us in the live league, the big high stakes live. He's doing very well actually as well.
Yeah.
Hi guys, hope you're both well. I've been away for a few days. What is the latest regarding with the Mahomes injury? Well, it's actually just come out that
Well, I can give you some insight into this.
they reckon he's going to be out less than 3 weeks. Is just the news I've seen.
I totally get that, but there is a big problem here.
Oh, I know,
right?
yeah.
So let me just tell you what this is. So again, medically, I love the medical side of the game. That's something I'm enjoying a lot, actually. Yes, he can come back in 3 weeks, but he will need a knee brace, and there's a very, very high chance he will need a surgery in the off season to stabilise that knee because he's had a dislocation.
How does it affect his mobility?
Massively. He won't be the same if he comes back really quick. Truthfully, if I'm honest, and this is not going to go down well in fantasy circles because I don't think he's not going to come back because he's that kind of player.
Yeah.
And I think he's a leader, and leaders want to come back and show toughness, particularly in this game.
He's just actually said in the last couple of hours that considering week to week, that was his mentality. Yeah. So,
but there is a huge risk here because you are going in a knee brace. This is a physical game. It's a full contact game. He was not right before the injury.
He had ankle injury.
Yeah, he wasn't right before the injury. He then picked up this injury on a quarterback sneak. His mobility numbers have been coming down since the ankle problem. This is going to hamper it massively. So fantasy-wise, we know he's great. But if you're not able to be mobile and shift around in the pocket, changes everything. So just be prepared for that. It does make a big difference. And I would say there's a very high chance of re-aggravation. That worries me. If I was the Chiefs, I would deactivate.
The other thing you got
The
other thing you got to think about is how does it affect Kelsey? How does it affect Tyreek Hill?
I think the biggest
Sammy Watkins.
Well, the biggest issue is not Tyreek Hill because we saw that the other night. Tyreek Hill is an explosive individual. All he needs is an ounce of space, and people underrate Matt Moore greatly to their cost. I like Matt Moore. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. He's very underrated. He's not a quarterback that's going to carry you to fantasy gold forever, right? But for a short-term fix, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, perfect.
That's all he's ever been,
perfect.
Isn't it?
That's perfect. It's all you need. And Tyreek Hill's fine. It will affect Kelsey because if you look at Matt Moore's numbers over the years, not really a tight end kind of throw, although he did okay with him.
But sometimes with these backup QBs, tight ends do become their safety blanket, really easy throws.
I think Sammy massively affected because he's never on the field anyway.
Yeah,
and
you got to be on the field.
You got to be on the field to build chemistry. The running game, it's a little like we thought. To be honest, is all over the show this year, and we were right about that. And it's been really difficult to predict. There's nobody really that stands out yet.
So and particularly players with the fringe ones like Demarcus Robinson and McCole Hardman.
Yeah, McCole did okay the other day to get a touchdown. That saved his day. But really,
what about the running back situation as well?
It's a nightmare. It's an absolute blooming nightmare. I mean, it's exactly what we thought though before the season when people asked us, "What do we think of Damian Williams?" We said we couldn't trust the guy. Saying he's a bust. He's no good to us. We don't want him for this year. That's proved to be so accurate.
It's just that
the trouble has been
the worry is always that when they haven't done it for a full year, you've been in the league a few years and you've never been like that 3-down back.
It's hard to do.
But in that offense, it's just so easy to.
You get sucked in. We've all done it. I mean,
who would you want to own now then? Which one? McCoy, Darrell Williams, Damian Williams? None of them.
It's any given week, it's any one of them, and that's a worry, isn't it? I mean, you need consistency, not inconsistency. And I can tell you now, if you look at my teams, I've got no team that I'm sitting there going, "Oh God, that's a 0. I haven't won a game." The ones that are not doing well, that are on 2 wins, they're inconsistent because of players like this. Inconsistent, and that's the issue you have as fantasy. Sometimes bad things happen to good teams. You just don't get the wins, but take nothing away. You want to avoid players like that, and that's one great call there because who wants that guy? He was terrible before it started. But there are a lot of good second round picks that we highlighted, actually. Look at the 2 we highlighted. Aaron Jones and obviously Dalvin Cook. Those 2 guys have really got off hot starts this year and done very well.
So Toby's asking, is it similar to the knee injury Rodgers picked up? It's not. It's similar. One was a sprain and one was a dislocation.
This is a serious dislocation, although there are similarities because of the kind of impact they have.
Because you've got a knee brace and your mobility is affected.
There's similar impact, but the biggest difference is that if you think about Rodgers, he was always a pocket passer, whereas Mahomes is always someone who can throw on the move. Now I'll tell you something that's massively effective with someone who's got a knee brace on. Let me tell you something, because for me, there are 3 kinds of throwing motions. You have, as we've spoke about on the show before, you have the traditional. Well, I call it the traditional older method: pull the ball backwards against the way you should throw it, and then bringing it forward. That's my method. The difference in the NFL level is that is not what Mahomes does. He does the more traditional throw back and throw. So there's no change in this motion. It's just straight and gone. And he also can throw sidearm again very quick. When you've got a knee brace on, sidearm motion you can't be doing that anymore because the impact through the knee is massive. It's massive. It really affects it. So there'll be none of that sidearm stuff, none across the body throws. It's a massive deal.
That's the thing with dislocation. Once you start getting them,
The bad. That's why I'll have
they
an
can
operation.
repeat. Yeah.
That's why I'll have an operation in the off season because I have to stabilise
What
the
do
knee.
they do? Will they put a pin in it?
It'll be a pin that will go in. That shouldn't have any longer term lingering effects in
just
terms of.
strengthens
It'll strengthen up the
the
joint.
joint,
The trouble will be that from a mobility point of view, will this hamper the young guy going forward? I think it probably does, and there is the other problem with this, and I've got to say that now, so just to be aware of it. A chance of an ACL tear on the opposite leg is quite high.
because you're putting more
Put more
emphasis.
stress on the knee for that year. So all these things, I know they're horrible, but you got to weigh them up. I mean, in fantasy, if you're in a redraft league, Mahomes is probably a player that you probably got to think about training on to gain an advantage
Somewhere
moving
else,
forward.
yeah.
If you're in Dynasty, obviously not because he's amazing, so you don't. But
In
if an offer,
redraft.
if an offer, in Dynasty leagues,
Because at any sort of other scare, they might shut him down for the year.
yeah,
as
they
well.
could shut him down. But presumably in Dynasty, you've got other options. And if somebody was to come in with a big offer from Mahomes, it is worth considering. You have to think of those things. But it have to be a good offer that you like, that you want. So, okay, there's things
Let's
to
go
think
back
about.
to some more comments. Anthony says, thanks for starting with the 49ers. My team since I was 9 back in 1988.
Well,
So
a great team, great lineage, and long been overdue for a return to form. And it is good to see them coming back. I mean, I begrudgingly admire the 49ers team, always have, because I've grown up in the eras of Montana and some of the great Steve Young, who I still think was just unbelievable quarterback. I mean, just
Jerry
amazing.
Rice, who's put
Jerry
number
Rice, exceptional. I mean, you've had some Roger Craig, Ronnie Lott. I mean, you can name them. I mean, they're names of the past that there are moments that stay with you. And they're great lineage. It's a great team. So it's been a long ride to get back to this point where you feel there's a real ethos in there now, and I'm excited for the fans and that team because you think
It's been a few years.
I'm
hasn't
looking
it?
ahead and looking at some of the pieces and thinking at the moment it's hard to predict fantasy wise who are the mainstays, but we're starting to get some clues, and I'm excited to see what happens for next year. Particularly,
Okay, he also adds that he's just read an article that they're looking to trade for a wide receiver, AJ Green, Emmanuel Sanders, Devontae Parker.
personally wouldn't bother with those.
Well, I don't know. What?
I mean,
why?
I mean, you could go after Emmanuel Sanders if it's critical to
But
you for this
they're
season.
a team that are kind of in win mode. I mean, they're unbeaten. They've won every game.
If I was picking one of those names, I would go Emmanuel Sanders because of what he's capable of doing any given week.
And he might be fairly cheap because he's
the
getting on a bit.
trouble is this. If we go back and we go through each of the names, let's just be honest. So if you start with the first name,
Don't you slag off AJ Green?
let's go
Don't
AJ.
start with that.
Yeah, I've got to go with AJ. We've got some more news maybe breaking through. No, it's okay. AJ Green, like I said before the season
AJ
started,
Green, I reckon, is fit and he's angling for a trade.
yes, he probably
And he
is.
said he's not going to be back before the trade deadline,
Probably true. Yeah.
which means, I think basically,
But
he's only going to play again if they
But-
can't trade him.
are you comfortable with the injury history of AJ Green? I mean, he might be the
Yeah,
perfect.
but don't you think these sort of injuries get a bit better when they move teams and they get what they want?
Yeah, it can happen. Yeah, I mean, it could be perfect for the 49ers this year. Yes. All right, I'll give you that. He could be.
And he is
because
elite when
the
he
window
plays.
is small.
I
and
mean-
the good news is he hasn't got to play loads of
I
games.
mean, they got Marquise Goodwin. He's got speed, but he's getting on and he's got little else.
yeah.
Got
It
Pettis,
doesn't
his head seemed to have gone a little bit. He's lost his way.
I think we'll see.
The
Pettis,
vibes aren't
Pettis,
great. I mean,
we'll
he's a good
see.
player.
Pettis could be great going forward. Like Deebo Samuel could be great going forward.
Deebo Samuel's out this week.
Yeah, we'll
so-
know more over the course of the season. We'll figure it all out.
So Deebo Samuel's out this week. So Kittle's been a little bit on the way. He's still brilliant. I mean, he will have good games as well. But
Well, he's still great, but it's just the touchdowns aren't there, so it hurts. But then in tight end numbers, he's great, so he's fine.
oh yeah, he's still one
Still
of the
fine.
top three, isn't he?
Yeah,
I mean, Kelsey hasn't been great either, has
no,
he?
no, not really.
And,
No.
and it's not going to improve with not
No,
having
nothing more there. Right, let's keep going. What was your next matchup game before we go to another question?
All right. Okay. we've talked about the 49ers Redskins.
Yeah.
We think 49ers are going to win.
We do, yeah.
The Redskins, they've got Chris Thompson out, haven't they?
Yeah.
McLaurin's been a real find for them. He's the one bright spot, I think.
He's
for
been
them this year.
fantastic. Yeah, he looks a real weapon. And do you know what I liked about him? I mean, you know, again, this is something that those who are watching will know. If you're a Washington Redskins fan, you're going to know this. Is his downfield movement
Yeah, he's very
on the
excellent.
routes in this subtle body shift that he has that sends the corner of safety the wrong way, and he does it so regularly. It's really exceptional, particularly downfield. It's so hard to explain. The timing of everything he does. He's all because when you're covering somebody, you have got to preempt what they're doing. Is it going to be a quick crossing route? Is it going to be to the post? What are they doing? You've got to work that out really quickly in your head. Lots of factors play in. But where he really wins through for me, where I think, wow, there's a player, there's a talent, and he is a talent, is when you think, I've got it. I know what he's doing. And suddenly he's changed again. He's really good at making you get out of your head.
Basically, yeah.
Get out of your head. And I like that. So from a coaching perspective, just watching the player work, there are times I look at him and go, can I figure out? And that's why I like watching games and watching players. He's great.
What was interesting is, I mean, Keenum's the best quarterback they got at the moment.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
For what that's worth.
Well, for this year, it's worth everything because that's what they've got.
So they've got no Chris Thompson, so who's stepping into the Chris Thompson role? Wendell's forward.
I'm not seeing it.
I saw someone tip him that he was going to be a sneaky player this week. I don't see that.
No, not at all. Not even in DraftKings. I know you're a fan. I wouldn't even pick him in that.
But he's cheap, obviously.
I bet he is, yeah.
And rightly so.
And rightly so. I mean, he should be worth $1. I don't think he should be going for thousands. It's ridiculous. Yeah, sorry, carry on. Who are we on next?
Just more news in.
Yeah, let's have the
both
news.
Geronimo Allison and Valdez Scantling are active, according to news I've just read. I haven't had that confirmed, but that's big news.
We'll see if we can get confirmation because they were on to the God knows what wide receiver down there. I mean, we're talking
Alan Lazard. Yeah,
you know,
I thought he looked quite good.
Yeah, he has shown flashes. The trouble is, I mean, it tells you everything you need to know in Green Bay if you can't beat out Marcus Valdez-Scantling and Geronimo Allison, who have been okay. You know, they've got depth there, so you know maybe this could still be his week to shine because I'm still concerned about even if Allison, even if Valdez-Scantling, if anybody play, I'm not sure they're 100%. So it could be his week to shine. So we'll see.
Okay, well we've got a few more comments in here.
Yep.
We didn't talk about Devontae Parker. No, we don't need.
No,
to
we don't need to. No. He's
the
perennial glass.
The guy's glass.
The guy is the perennial sheet.
He has
of
talent,
glass.
but he's never healthy. I mean, you could say they level that at AJ Green, but Adrian Green's far more talented.
But at least AJ Green, as you say, when
He's
he
elite,
plays,
yeah.
I can't knock. The stat production is just exceptional. So it's not like I ever worry about what he's going to do when he's on the field.
All right, this is a good question from Mark. Which Titans receiver, if any, do you think will gain from having Tannehill at quarterback?
I don't think that you can really gauge it.
I'm just trying to think.
It's really hard.
I mean,
because
Tannehill did throw. He used to throw deep to Kenny Stills every now and again. He didn't really use tight ends, did he?
No. So you got to
No tight end was ever relevant.
You got to rule that out, and not only that, but this week's tight
Well, that's
end.
Delaney Walker.
Delaney Walker's already a game time decision.
Maybe
so
he's never had a Delaney Walker to throw to then.
Yeah, but Delaney is banged up, so
We don't know if he's even
I'm not
healthy,
sure he's going
do
to
we?
be back. There's nothing there at the moment.
So you got Adam Humphries.
I would say Adam has a chance to shine here because this is the perfect foil for Tannehill. This is short to intermediate routes, cutting across the middle of the field, should be ideal. So he should get targets.
You've got Corey Davis and AJ Brown.
Corey
Corey Davis should be the number one, and he should be if he.
But like we've said so often in this program, we can't trust him, right?
Well, you can't trust any of them.
If we can't
You
trust
can't
him,
trust
we
any of
won't
them.
recommend him. And this is what I say all the time, and this is why I think our draft guide next year is going to be very different, particularly from my perspective. Some players won't make the draft guide. Corey Davis, I'm looking at you.
He will make it with a big squiggle.
Oh, he'll
next
have
to
it.
him,
He'll
though.
be on the board, but I'm telling you now, I'm going to put a big black mark through him, and I'm going to make it absolutely clear why I do not draft him. And these are the reasons because
Why
he
don't
just
they get a
can't
good
shake it.
quarterback that throws the ball?
Well,
That's what
we
they need.
We reevaluate. We reevaluate in the offseason. The trouble is, though, this is the issue. We've said this about Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota before the start of the season. This was a testing period. This first 6 to 8 weeks, very big testing period. I thought Mariota
can't throw the ball.
Maybe Mariota had maybe made a couple of good moves early in the doors. And I thought, maybe they'll give him a bit longer. As soon as he went off the boil, he was gone. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know, really. Benched.
Right, so with Tannehill, I think Davis has got the best upside, but is a watch and brief because we don't know, and you can't trust any of them unless you're really desperate.
If I had to make a guess, it'd be Adams. I would think will come out of the pack with a few more targets.
Mark points out as well, Corey Davis holds the NCAA receiving yard record, I believe. I grabbed him off waivers just to get, and I get that. Yeah. He is the one that you'd hope will step up.
Look, if you were looking for boom and you had a desperate situation on your hands and you're up against a very good team and you're 25 points predicted to lose and you're looking at it honestly and you're thinking, yeah, that's fair, I probably will lose this one.
Wouldn't it be great to see Corey Davis step up and be the player we think he might be?
It's got the potential. But the trouble is, potential has not shown on the field for a very long time. And that's why I say Mr. Inconsistent.
Well, John Cartwright's actually big Chiefs fan.
Yeah, hi John. Good to have you on board, and thanks very much for any question.
He's actually weighed in on it. I think Tannehill will want a safety blanket mark, so maybe Humphries or Johnny Smith. I mean, if it's Johnny Smith, then I don't know what's the world of fantasy coming to. I know if Delaney Walker's out, then Johnny Smith could be.
Jono the
but he never really used tight ends.
Absolutely not going to happen.
I think Adam Humphries.
I believe. Yeah,
Adam Humphries would be a better safety blanket.
I think Adam has a few more targets in him for this week, but let's be honest. All of them have been.
But what's the point of Tannehill coming in and playing it safe? Hasn't he? If he's going to win this job, hasn't he got to take some shots and try and get Davis and Brown involved?
The whole point is that's a really nice. I like your thinking.
That's what I'd be thinking.
Yeah, no, that's.
I'm not going to check.
Okay,
I'm not any good.
Let me just flip the switch slightly. I like your thinking. This is how I would approach.
I want to go down in flames.
I'm the quarter. You will do it. That mentality. I'll tell you that. Here's what I think, right? So if I was the quarterback coach and I now have to work with Tannehill, okay, and he's being honest with me, and I'm an honest coach. I'm trying to help him. And he comes to me and he says, what do I need to do to hold this job down? I'm going to say to him, listen, if you take too many risks, you're going to end up like Mariota, right? Well, and you're a second stringer. So the only way you're going to hold this job is you've got to show methodical, well-kept, long drives. You better make sure when you get
after the ball.
You look after the ball, and any decisions you make which are, is this a 50-50? Throw the thing away, right? Or chuck it on the ground, right? As long as it's not fumble.
Yeah, but you can only do that to a certain point. If you're getting beat, you've got to take some shots.
That's different. If I come to you at a point in the game and I say, right, gloves off, you know it's time to go for it. And that's my responsibility. I think his strength is
throwing deep.
I think he can take shots, but you've got to time them. So I'll give you some examples. You're 2nd and 1, have a go. Yeah? Take a shot down the field because we've got another play.
Pick six.
Well, take a shot down the field 1-on-1, not into double coverage, yeah? That's when you can take your shot, if we say so. But the key for you to hold that job is timing it. I want 2 or 3 of those a game, not 17.
Don't become like
Jameis
Winston.
Do not do what's happened to the other guy, yeah? Just lobbing them up. That's why we're in this mess, yeah? You've got to show something else. You want to hold that job. Or you're playing for another type of... You could get another deal. This league is full of opportunity.
You'll always get deals.
There's an opportunity.
There's always a backup role.
32 jobs for trigger men. Very few can hold the job.
There's 3 or 4 good ones coming in, though, maybe.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. But, again, talent in college, whether it translates to NFL, are massive difference.
Let's take another question.
Yeah.
Dennis Stephen, welcome, Dennis.
Hi, Dennis. If you're a new subscriber, if you haven't subscribed, please do, Dennis. I think you're somebody who's contributed before with questions, so thanks and welcome back.
Start 2 out of these 3. Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman, Devin Singletary.
I'm starting Devin Singletary 100% this week. It's a perfect matchup and had time to recover from his injury.
He's not on the designated injury report.
Yeah.
He's got the Dolphins. So even if Gore starts, the game scripts are going to be good and they're going to give Singletary carries at the end, surely. He could get at some nice...
He should have a fantastic
worst case scenario, garbage.
He should have a fantastic opportunity to milk up yards.
Yeah, so Freeman...
Freeman has played better than I thought this year, but it's not great.
He's not running the ball, though. He was catching the ball.
It is catching.
And then he's got quite a good matchup as well, I think. Yeah. He's got the Rams, hasn't he? So
yeah, and we've been pretty poor and susceptible to this.
Rams are sort of 18th rank against a run. But obviously, Falcons are quite a good offense in that dome.
Yeah, they are.
So, that's not a bad option either. And the other one is Tevin Coleman, obviously at the Redskins, which is... Redskins are 28th worst against the run, so 28th best, so pretty shit.
But Coleman's consistency has been poor, hasn't it? To be honest.
Yeah, he did seem to be the goal line back, which is they never give Breeder the carries inside the 10 yard line.
Which is a bit weird because he just looks better for it, to be honest with you. But
he's having to break big runs to sort of. He had the highest yard per carry. At least he did a couple of weeks ago. highest yards per carry in the
I-
league, Breeder.
I get the Tevin Coleman and goal line carries part, and that might be the reason why we have to edge it.
See, the
against-
thing with this is when you're looking at it, Singletary hasn't played for weeks.
He's fresh. He's ready. And he cuts like a killer. I mean, if you look at what he was doing before that hamstring injury, he looks so dangerous. This is Miami. He should carve them to pieces.
But he
even
could
on
he
limited
could be
carries.
second in line for carries. That's the only thing.
I'll take 13 to 15 carries with that guy, and I bet he gets
Will
you
you
80,
get that,
80
though?
to 1. Oh, I think he can, yeah.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, I like
it's a tough
Singletary.
one. So who are you
I'm
going
going
for?
Singletary,
And
absolutely.
who else? Freeman or Coleman?
I think I'm going to go Coleman because I just think, like you say about the goal line carriers and against the 28th defence is worth the risk this week. The 6 points that you're looking for that could come are worth it.
I would definitely play Freeman, and it's a toss up between Coleman and Singletary.
Interesting. So a little bit divided, but I'm definitely sticking with Singletary. So I won't shift on him because I just think he's too dangerous, and he can break a ball at any time and go a long way. And against that Miami, let's be honest, against Miami that shouldn't be too bad. Should be a good week.
Mark's just commenting that he's not starting Corey Davis. He's just watching to see what
Yeah.
will happen, and that's
Yeah, it's fair.
you know. When you've got a player that has ability, but they're not doing very well, when you've got a change of circumstance, like a change of quarterback, then obviously that can change their value. So it's
Yeah.
worth stashing them for a week or two to see if they pick up.
Yeah,
If you've got that,
definitely, yeah.
if you've got a bench player you can drop or two defenses, whatever, it's something that you don't need. Probably don't need to stash. Then I think that's very smart fantasy play. That's the sort of thing I do,
Yeah, that's fair enough.
and
Can't
I've done it in 2 live leagues as well.
Yeah,
So-
can't argue that. It's fair enough. Yeah.
Toby says, interesting stuff, guys. I have a bad feeling for me today. For Al that Keenan Allen will show up today. Yeah, I think I'm playing him actually this week. Yeah, that's good. I hope Keenan Allen does show up because I need it because he's been a bit poor the last few weeks. Started hot.
Well, it's really difficult. I mean, we
The
were
Titans'
discussing.
defense pretty good though, isn't it?
We've been discussing offline. I mean, off air here about I mean, I've got a share of Philip Rivers, and I've named the team perfectly. Crimea Rivers. I mean, that's about right because he's been all over the place. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get from week to week. He makes him I mean, some days it's great, other days it's appalling. That's affected, with Melvin Gordon coming back. Eckler's values dropped through the floor. Both of them have almost cancelled each other out. Mike Williams just hasn't had the red zone looks, and Keenan Allen has had games, but not consistency. And so you worry. And so when you're playing against Keenan Allen, and I think I'm up against him this week on one big league, you don't know. I mean, I always worry when it's Keenan Allen. He could get 26 points, but he could get 4.
I hope he gets 26.
He probably will.
Just
This is the
putting
week.
it out there.
This is the week. Of course, it will happen.
Right, let's move on to another game. Cardinals at the Giants. So we briefly talked about this, about obviously Daniel Jones. Both defenses are pretty poor, so this could be high scoring.
Yeah.
Although both offenses aren't prolific, they
No.
both could put up points against. Good
Yeah.
opportunity, but it
Yeah,
could be
it
a
is.
good.
Could be a
sneaky-
big bang out score. Yeah.
Giants are the worst team for allowing points to scoring QB, so that's good for Kyler Murray if you want
Yeah.
to play him.
Yeah.
So if it's DraftKings or if you
I both think both quarterbacks have a chance to put up some good numbers.
yeah,
definitely.
and Cardinals are 23rd. So
I mean, this could be a game where you see long bombs going all over.
oh no,
the place.
sorry, the Cardinals are the worst team again, and the Giants are 23rd. So both have good opportunities to score points.
Yeah.
Again, it's good for Evan Ingram because they're they rank 32nd against allowing points for the tight end as well. So
Wow. Okay.
Evan Ingram could have a big game.
This should be his week then. Really, you would hope.
I wouldn't because I haven't got any shares of him.
I don't like inconsistency.
I don't pick tight ends there.
No.
I pick people like Will Disley who then die, and
Yeah.
then you have to pick some other rubbish off the.
It's hard to find it. Yeah, he was good though for a few weeks.
You have to
But,
find someone in a swamp. That's
but it's hard. But the tight end is a quagmire field, isn't it? I mean, we've said this before the season. And doesn't it highlight it brilliantly this year? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, let's look at that logically. Already we're just about to start the 7th week into the season. Let's be honest. We highlighted this metrics before the start of the season. This will definitely be in the draft guide. We had been monitoring a few factors we don't think are being taken into consideration with fantasy football. And one of them was the tight end position, and particularly around what they actually really score on a year-by-year basis, what the reality is, how many points can you get standard, half-point, full-point PPR, and where that left you from the top, the very few at the top, to the chasing pack. And rightly we said it. There'll only be 1 or 2 producers at the very top edge, and a lot of crap beneath it. Seriously, and that's what we're facing.
Well,
this
actually,
year.
they're pretty much the ones we highlighted in our late tight end video. are the ones that done well. Andrews was on there.
Yeah.
Obviously Waller was on there.
And he's still doing okay, Waller.
The Atlanta guy was on there. His name escaped me for some reason.
It's all right. Hooper.
Yeah, Austin Hooper. Can't remember his name. I've just
It's all
been
right.
to Austin.
Yeah, you have.
Still can't remember his
You
name.
mention him every other week, but this one,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Oh, I was
That's
trying to
okay.
mention his name. It just wouldn't come into my
Yeah,
head.
I've got a couple of shares of him in leagues. I'm delighted to have him this year. He's been excellent.
So Cardinals Giants. Who do you think will come out on top there? Who do you ledge that game?
It's close, but I like Daniel Jones. I have a feeling the way he plays, he's giving them some hope, and hopefully with Saquon coming back, and I hope he is all the way back and they're not taking a huge risk with his health, because players lie. This is another thing that happens, right? So I lied. Players lie. Players try to con the concussion protocol. We all know the game. They lie. So I'm sure he is practicing and they can see that he's back, but there's a high risk and I worry.
And
I do
Kamara's
worry.
got the same sort of high ankle sprain.
Yeah, it's
and
tough.
again, he's talking about being back next week. But I
Risky.
know these are good players, but
Great
are
player,
they got to be superhuman to come back?
You're risking a lot. There's a big risk. I mean, I hope he's okay because it's exciting when he plays, and obviously if he's been in your fantasy team, he's probably got you in a good position,
Yeah.
ready for his return, and I'm sure he'll do well, and it should be a good week for him.
As
to
you
come
said,
back.
it's a good matchup for. I think I'd be happily playing Tate. Not if I've got better options, but he's okay to play in the flex.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram looks to have a good.
Well, based on those
Matchup.
numbers, it should be perfect for him.
Daniel Jones, we'd be all right playing.
It's a good match. It's
Obviously,
a good game.
Saquon's since he came to league, he scored more points than any other QB.
You can't rate against it. If he's playing, he's starting. It's
It's
pretty
over 20
simple,
points a week, I think he
Yeah.
scored since he
If
came
he's-
into
if
the
he's
league.
playing,
so
he starts
You
him.
have to start him,
Yeah.
yeah. Cardinals, I'd be happy playing Kyler Murray. David Johnson has been injured, and they have been sort of working in the backup a bit, haven't they?
It's worrying. It is worrying. I mean, you look at what's going on. I mean,
Chase Edmonds has actually looked pretty
Chase
decent.
Edmonds looks like they look like they've got a really nice 1-2 punch. But the problem is, if you've got David Johnson,
You don't want a nice one,
You don't want a 1-2.
You want it.
So
You want someone to punch Chase Edmonds. Too.
Well, you've been affected by Chase Edmonds' play, but that from a coach's perspective, this is good. But from his, it's not. So
But with a player carrying an injury, you're more likely to work in Chase Edmonds a
yeah,
bit more.
I think Chase is
just to look after
He's going to
David
get
Johnson.
some more opportunities this week. So
I mean, you have to play David Johnson, don't you? So,
definitely.
tight ends for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, all over the show. What is it, Fells? Who's in there?
Max Williams.
Max
isn't it?
Williams. Oh, God.
Fells in it.
Yeah.
Houston. Eh?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't be starting him unless you're desperate like me.
Yeah, no.
Okay, moving on to the. Got a few more questions.
Yeah, please, let's go to the questions. Always go to the questions. Let's see what you've got. Keep sending them in. Most important thing, if you've got something you want to get off your chest, even if it's to moan, we're happy to take those.
Yeah, and give us a thumbs up on the video if you're enjoying it. From Toby again, general observation. Why do teams with a good QB not throw the occasional Hail Mary and say on 3rd and 15 on their own 35-yard? Interception would likely be better than a punt anyway. 4th down and chance of a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't
No,
know.
it's a good point,
It's a great question. I was always raised on the belief that you should go for it in certain situations on the field.
But so many
Whether
people
it's-
just do a draw play on
Yeah,
3rd and 15.
I think it's pathetic. I think it's more pathetic from teams that have no winning records. I hate it. I much prefer to see in those situations where it could be very much better than a punt. I'd rather go for it. So I don't understand it. But I think some players you have to also put your coach's head on as well. That some players.
It's a safety thing, isn't it? Because
From
you want to
my-
look at I mean, it's okay saying okay if it's intercepted, but once if it's intercepted, you run it back for a touchdown.
Well, there's another issue here as well.
That's a
which
bit
is-
worse.
There's a thing about you see game field position, game situation, and player confidence all come into this question, because some players like myself, when I was quarterbacking, I can honestly say it didn't affect me if I threw an interception, because I really believed that I'd use that motivation, that I made a mistake and I've got to make it back for the team. Some people are like that.
But did you ever have one where you chased it and just kept throwing like Fitzmagic?
No, I
does?
was quite cagey. I like what I liked is you make a mistake. I didn't make many, but you make a mistake and then you think, right, okay, so how do I put that right? And I'd be very much quick at thinking, what must I do differently? Did that player who got that ball, was that unlucky? Like
Or
a
did he read
deflection?
you,
Or did he read me? And there are a couple of occasions where I thought, that guy definitely read me and he got me there. And you respect that. So what you
So
do
would you
is,
pump fake him?
I'd often try and outmaneuver them. So
Yeah.
later in the game, So I wouldn't go that side for a long time, and then wait and bide for that opportunity, maybe a third.
And he's waiting for you to throw the same throw.
And you look and you'll think, and he looks like you're about to do the same play because you'd often call it, and that's when you toss the deeper ball or go for it, because that's where you catch them. But that's a personal thing. So player confidence can come in, momentum change can also come in. So it looks from your team's perspective, if an interception always feels like a momentum change, where a punt away doesn't. I know that you're absolutely right in terms of.
I kind of get it. It's frustrating if a team you support, they're 3rd and 15, they're losing like by maybe 2 scores, and they still go for a draw play and not go for it. Yeah,
I get it, but it can affect the confidence of the QB you've got, and you've got to remember that because some QBs handle it different. It can affect the momentum, which is the whole team momentum.
He's earning millions of pounds a year.
But when you are 0 and 6, when you are a backup QB, and there are a lot of other, just go for it. Don't hesitate. Just look. I'll take the interception. Just throw the bloody thing.
Go down, blaze of glory. The fans appreciate that.
Yeah, I would as well. So to answer your question, it's a little bit about the situation you're in. But if it's a bad team and you've got nothing to lose, you should go for it. So there you go.
It's totally sad about the tight end when you're starting to reach for someone like Nick O'Leary. You know the rhymes on.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Absolutely. But there are a lot of bad tight ends. I mean. You know, you look at your tight end numbers this year, guys. I mean,
I think I picked up Jeff Swain last year, and he died last week. He died this week.
That Shaughnessy guy for Jacksonville, he died.
You put him on IR.
Yeah, I know he died.
He was all right. He was.
Yeah, I killed him off. Killed off Will Disley. I've killed off a few times. Njoku killed him off. He's dead. I don't think there's many I haven't shot this year.
I've got a lot of sort of shares of Wallace, so he's doing all right.
Yeah,
so don't kill him. Don't pick him up.
I've got good news for you there. I've only got one share. Just saying that.
No, don't even say it.
All right. Don't even say it.
Jack Lansford asks, Alden Tate, Phil Dorset, Jameson Crowder or Beasley in PPR this week?
I think Jamison Crowder has some amazing opportunity to do well.
It is New England though, isn't it, this week?
I know, but you know, if there's ever a situation where you've got to kind of go up the field a bit.
I think the biggest upside, I agree with you, is Jamison Crowder. The 2 games he's played with Sam Darnold, he's caught like double digit.
Oh, been amazing.
Stupid amount of catches.
And you're talking about New England now. The defense, people have gone on about how good the defense. Come on, you played Miami and Jets and a few. Hold on a second.
Yeah, right? And you put.
Yeah, so you've murdered
Josh Allen in the concussion protocol.
So you've murdered a few teams. Let's be honest. It's not exactly. You can't hold your hands up and go, "Wow, we're brilliant."
New York Giants.
Yeah, you can't say you're. The 85 Bears defense, right? You're a cheap shot merchant bunch of.
All right, Sean, leave it out.
I'm getting upset with them. I tell you, I don't like watching them. And the truth of it is you're not that good. So actually, Jamison Crowder could have a nice day because he can get open. He's a good player on those short to intermediate routes. You don't have to develop the play too far down the field. It should be great.
He won't get big catches, but he might get a few.
Plenty of opportunity.
If it's full point PPR.
You're talking about PPR, it's worth a shot. That's the guy I would go for in that group. What do you feel about him?
Who?
Well, let's hope it's the one I'm talking about, Jamison Crowder.
Yeah, I like Crowder. Yeah, he's the one I'd pick.
Yeah, good.
Although Tate's been doing all right.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, but it's Tate. No more news there. Somebody's got upset about VAR. That's to do with British soccer. Don't know what's happened there.
That must be Liverpool, Man United.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark. So Mark's saying when we're talking about Mahomes, it's going back a bit.
Yeah.
What sort of target would you go for? I mean, it depends on what you need in your team. Do you need a running back? Do you need a wide receiver? Maybe package Mahomes and one of your lesser running backs for a better running back.
Well, it depends on the league format as well, because in redraft you're probably going to get less value than you think, because if you've got big leagues, quarterbacks are there.
I'd be sending everybody. If I was trying to trade him, I'd be sending everyone the thing saying Mahomes says he's week to week. And
you'd be trying to sell the upside.
Yeah, of course you do. That's what you do when you got
and then see what you can get for it. But as you say, it depends on the team needs, and not only that, but as you say, a package deal might be the perfect.
Yeah. So if you've got a backup QB that you trust and you don't need a QB in a deal, I'd try and package Mahomes maybe with a running back and try and get someone like maybe Bell, because after this week,
it's good matchups.
He's got brilliant weeks. They're all rubbish teams like the Dolphins, the Giants, people that give up loads of points to.
I mean, he could have an explosive finish to the fantasy
and the Jets showed against Dallas last week, like we said at the start of the year, that they, with everybody fit, they could be a decent offense. So they can move the ball. Not obviously with Luke Falk, but with Sam Darnold, they can.
Yes, they can. Yeah. Okay, good question. Okay, so what's next?
Mark, stop the presses. Where did you play quarterback?
Well, London Capitals, many years ago, you're going back to the 88, 89, 90. And
That's
part,
1888,
party,
is
yeah,
it? Or
1888, yeah, that's when they were just carrying the ball. But
Jack the Ripper was at
long time ago. But,
running back.
Oh, Jack the Ripper, yeah, he was
He was that long
he was
ago.
our main running back. he was carving
I
him
wouldn't have
up.
wanted to tackle him. Yeah.
He was carving him up on the
Yeah.
inside. It was
Like
good.
a knife through, but no.
Yeah, it was a great time period. I was very lucky to be part of a successful team, and to be honest, I had a very, very nice 3 and a bit years there. It was
So
brilliant. really.
he played sort of highest level he can in the UK. Won a Brit Bowl with the London Capitals.
Very, very lucky, and did everything.
Back in the early 90s, was it?
Yeah, you're talking 88, 89, 90. We won it in 90.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it was against the Kent Seminoles. It was a great victory. We won very well on the day. The biggest challenge we had was the semi-final.
Yeah, so not school. It's actually like as high as the sort of NFL sort of.
Yeah, well, let's
Let
not
level go.
skip a beat. It is basic British level. Let's just be
Yeah.
honest. It's nowhere near your college level. It's nowhere near that. But for us, it's as good as we can do.
It's as high as you can go in this country.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Toby's mentioning about Fitzmagic and chasing the touchdowns,
Yeah.
but you chase interceptions with Fitzmagic.
Fitzmagic. I'm not the right man to ask
That's
about
another guy
Fitzmagic.
about. Do you think
Well,
he's going to
shall we
sit
talk
and dunk it? He's going to be.
Shall we talk about Fitzmagic? Okay, Fitzmagic tears the league up for 5 weeks, right? Okay, I've got a team that's, as Al tears, very funny story. I've got a team of losing quarterbacks like they're going out of fashion. I think I had Andrew Luck that year, and that was the year that Andrew Luck, they kept saying he was going to come back.
Yeah.
He never did. I can't remember the quarterback.
Mariota.
I picked up Mariota. He died pretty much. He was completely rubbish. It's still rubbish today.
Yeah, he hasn't changed.
And then I was in a situation where I'm in a desperate situation in a big league, 16-man league. There's very few quarterbacks around. I have to make a pretty poor trade really to get one. And it ends up I have to get Mariota, and I paid. That
No,
wasn't a big.
Fitzmagic.
Sorry, Fitzmagic. It wasn't. I didn't pay a big premium. I'd already had to buy Mariota as well, but I cashed in on what I thought. He's had a good 5-week run. If I could just get 3 or 4 games out of him, I might be okay. Threw 6 interceptions the first week.
Yeah.
Cost me the week as well.
He was brilliant because Sean. I was actually talking to
It's
Sean
the
a lot that
funniest
week,
game that was.
and every time he got in front,
Just
Fitzmagic
kept going in
threw
front.
an interception, and he hit Sean
Couldn't
in the
believe
front
it.
6 times, and Fitzmagic put him behind
Yeah,
him.
I don't think I've known a week like it in fantasy football where you should really have won, and somehow you kept having. I think I got the jaws of victory was snapped 6 times from me that I should have had a chance to win and lost.
It was one of my favourite weeks.
I'm sure it was. And we've had a few of them.
Right, Adam
Anyway.
joined us.
Ah.
Couple of questions.
Yeah.
49ers or the Bears D this week?
I like the Bears D. I've always liked the Bears D.
I think if you got the Bears D, you've got to play them. I know the
Yeah.
49ers have got the Redskins and they're rubbish, but
but
they are on the road.
Yeah, and they got a chance, the Redskins, to throw the odd deep
Yeah,
touchdown.
Keenum's not.
So,
Keenum's had. He was actually like 5th in the QBs overall. And then he had a terrible week. Then he got injured,
yeah.
and then they dropped him, and now he's
Yeah.
back. But he's not. I mean,
Let's be honest. The Bears D.
both of them are nice.
The
I wouldn't
Bears-
mind either.
Oh, both are great, but the Bears D can. What's the only thing missing from the resume is more touchdowns, and you've
They've
got
got
to
the
think.
Saints. They've got the Saints. The
You-
Saints are on the road. They've got Terry Bridgewater quarterback,
You
not
gotta-
Breeze. They haven't got Kamara.
You gotta fancy that. I mean, that to me that screams of opportunity. And one mistake from big old Teddy, and it is going to go the house. So I like him for this.
You're going to get points for Matt getting sacks.
Yeah.
It's. I think we go. You go with
I'm
Chicago.
going to bring up some information as you chat away there. I'll just see if
Well,
we've
as long
got
as it's
any more.
information you're bringing up.
Oh, absolutely.
Another one. So
Yeah.
pick 3 from these 4. Aaron Jones, Montgomery. That's David, obviously.
Yeah.
Carlos Hyde and Coleman.
Oh, it's if you start Aaron Jones, you can't. I mean, he's
Aaron Jones is a definite.
definite because touchdowns are king, and he's really.
Although Jamal
really good.
Williams has been eaten into that, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's still great. I mean, I can't. You got to look at it logically. The guy has had touchdown numbers, so on any given week, the boat can blow up. So, and he's been brilliant at that.
Raheem. Well, there's news in.
Yeah, just pick it
Raheem
up.
Mostert's active again, so
Yeah.
that's at least 3 of them active.
D.D. Westbrook will be active, even though he's got a shoulder injury for Jacksonville. Not really too worried about Desmond Trufant. AJ Green officially inactive for week 7. Saquon Barkley officially active. I don't think there's much more. Jeff Swain among
Jeff
Jacksonville
Swain,
actives.
who died last week.
Yeah,
So Aaron Jones definitely. You like Montgomery,
I'm
don't
going
you?
with Montgomery and Jones.
So it's
yeah.
between Hyde and Coleman. Coleman's going to split it 3 ways.
I think Coleman. See, the thing is, I think Coleman could nick a touchdown here. This is why I would be erring on him. I just think he could.
So,
That's-
so Sean's going Jones, Montgomery, and I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah,
either.
I think that's sensible. I mean, I like
all
Jones.
of them are okay. I
I
don't
like Jones a lot. I know that Jamal Williams had a good week, but frankly, he can get touchdowns, and touchdowns are king in all formats. And when it comes to running game, and they can shortcut your week to make it a great success. And he's been getting chances to catch the ball, so I like him. I think he's got an opportunity.
I mean, I went and watched the Texans, and the thing with Hyde is because Watson was holding on to the ball for so long, it's ridiculous.
Worrying, isn't it?
And all he was doing, looking for the big pass to Will Fuller all the time, and they nearly connected with it, but it leaves big gaps for Hyde actually.
Aren't you concerned, like we said at the beginning of the year, about Deshaun Watson? Now you've got to see him in the flesh and really observed him, because I've seen a few games where I've really examined the tape. The amount of,
he was holding on too long. They don't protect him.
We've highlighted one of our huge concerns. We know he's great. We've said that. We said he'd be great this year, but the risk is big injury chance risks because he holds on for so long, and that's
and they can't protect him.
Yeah, worries me massively.
Really but yeah, none of them are bad, to be honest, Adam. No. I wouldn't be. So
they're saying here that Jalen Ramsey for the Rams won't hold out in 2020. That's a long way off.
He's got a contract for 2020. Not that stops anyone these days, but
it doesn't mean a thing, does it?
It'd be a bit mean if he just played. You paid 2 firsts for him, and then he just played the rest of the year. And
it'd be cruel.
Or he says, "Oh, my back hurts," and then he holds out next year.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks for your help.
Okay. So we've just talked about the Texans and the Colts a little bit. So we just talked about Hyde.
Should we give our view on who we think is going to win that game then? Texans or Colts? I'll definitely go with the Texans. I think.
The Colts are the favourites.
I'm going with Texans.
I tell you what. I tell you what I noticed. The Colts are amazingly good at running the ball. Who's that guy on the O-line they got a couple of years ago? He's an absolute monster, that guy.
Yeah.
And he was just creating big holes for Mac all the time against Kansas City when I was watching that game.
Yeah.
It's a very tight one. I think Colts will win.
Yeah, interesting. So, I mean, that'll be a good one to look back on for next week. I just feel the Texans, there's just something about them. I like them for this week.
Yeah,
it's a hunch, really.
Maybe it's because
it is close.
I mean, I watched them against the Panthers. It wasn't a great game. McCaffrey was the difference totally. He was
Brissett's underrated, isn't he? We've said this.
Brissett's okay, steady.
Yeah. Steady Eddie. Yeah, does the job. Right, okay. Any more questions? Let's see what we've got. Looks like we might have some.
Okay. No.
Right, we'll move on to the next part.
Okay, we've got Raiders at Green Bay.
Yeah.
We've got to be a win for Green Bay, especially with Allison and Valdez-Scantling both active.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they find ways to win, and there's big opportunities for their fantasy players here, as they say. So if you've got shares of those players, you've got chances this week. I quite like Aaron Jones a lot, actually. Jamal Williams will have his moment, but I think Aaron Jones could have another big day. It's another big possibility.
Williams looked good last week. It's
yeah.
so frustrating to be Aaron Jones.
I find it, ironically enough, I was forced into a situation in one league where I had to play Williams last week, so it looked genius, but actually it was just luck rather than skill. But you take that sometimes.
Oh yeah, you take it where you can get it.
Yeah.
Raiders on the road. They got no Terrell Williams, although Green Bay aren't actually ranked sort of in the 25th against the run, so it's quite a decent opportunity for Jacob, but the game script's probably not going to be there.
Problem is they're going to be behind a lot. You could imagine them being behind. They have to get out.
Who are they going to throw to? Is Zay Jones active? They traded for Zay Jones, didn't they?
It could be, but the playbook is this is Gruden, isn't it? I mean, this is his playbook. I
lots of Waller, you think?
I think so.
Or lots of nothing.
No, I think the tight end will be the beneficiary of this week for them, and he's been good. He's been really good. He's a player to watch.
It'd be interesting if they do throw. Yeah, Zay Jones.
He's doing everything. When you're looking at penning a player and you think, where's his opportunity for next year?
Actually,
his ceiling's trending up.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're in Dynasty,
but we're both with the Packers.
If you're in Dynasty, it's worth trying to see if you can get him on the cheap Waller now. It might be too late. But
I disagree. This is not the time to buy Waller. He's red hot at the moment.
Well, maybe if you can get him cheap enough.
You should have bought him at the start of the year when I was telling you to.
Yeah, well, that's true. I'm not denying that. That's absolutely spot on. We did highlight that in the video. That's the player to target.
Waller for $1 in the auction.
Yeah,
that was my catchphrase.
Yeah,
and then someone kept bidding up more.
Yeah, well, it didn't go for $1, but it still went for a lot less. It's
good.
It
did. He was cheap. Okay, on to the Vikings and the Lions.
Yeah, Vikings. Good on Kirk Cousins again, isn't he? An enigma.
You never know. It's a bit like Jameis. You never know which one you're going to get.
One's going to turn up on any given day. I mean, sometimes this year he's cut out a lot of the mistakes and he's been very steady, but there's not a lot of fantasy production. But
Diggs had done absolutely nothing, and then he turns
just explodes. I was playing him that week as well when he exploded. Of course, that was key.
That's not all bad then.
No. I mean, in a couple of leagues, of course, I was playing him that week. That's what I expected, and that's exactly how it went. I should have.
We were talking about the New England defense.
Yeah.
You know, last week they played on the Thursday, and I looked,
Yeah.
I was 32-0 down.
That's-
Before
yeah.
you've even had a player play. It's really annoying.
You haven't got much of a chance, have you,
Yeah.
really? Very hard.
You just
That's
have a look,
fantasy.
see how many times you're playing the Patriots defence.
Yeah. Okay, so
The Lions have been a much improved team. I think, they've lost. They were a bit unlucky to lose. A bit of a controversial loss to the Packers last week.
let's be honest.
There were some dodgy calls in that.
Let's be honest, that was poor officiating there. I don't like to completely criticise the officials because I know it's a tough job and it's not one I would
I don't
want to
think
do.
in there listening. I think you'd be all right.
Yeah, well, you were crap. You know, that's as simple
The
as it was.
Zebras.
You were terrible. You've affected the outcome of a game. That's awful. I do feel a little bit sorry for the Lions. You are right; they've improved, and there's some, Kenny Golladay still steady, doing a good job.
But there's only one reason only, and that's because if anyone's ever met Noel, he's a Lions fan, and that's just the way Noel rolls. So that's why they got beat.
Yeah.
That's probably why they get beat this week.
Yeah,
Who will you go for, Lions or Vikings?
I'm going with the Vikings. I think Kirk Cousins can steer a victory here quite comfortably. I think you can't underrate that team.
I'll go for the Lions then.
Good. I like that. Yeah. I like that. I like the Vikings. I do. I think Dalvin Cook will have another good day. I think Kirk Cousins is very, very safe, and that's good.
Vikings. Dalvin Cook was on our
He was
bold prediction.
Bold prediction, and he could still have. You have to really look at this carefully. It's not being talked about, but yeah, sure, he's had a couple of weeks where it's not been as good as his first few, but it's still been okay. Very serviceable.
Well, you take the points
You take the points, but he's got a chance if he picks back up the numbers this week, and there's a chance he could do that. He could be on for 2,000 yards. You rarely see it in fantasy football. So
and the Lions ranked 30th against the run.
Still a great chance.
They're a bottom three team.
He needs a week where if this week he goes 150 or more rushing yards and whatever he gets sprinkled in for catches, but somewhere near that range, 130, 150. There's a 2,000-yard rusher this year. We've got to start talking about that. It's really, really good. Really amazing.
But he doesn't even lead the league in rushing, does he?
Not yet, but he's closing in on it.
I think McCaffrey does, doesn't he?
McCaffrey does, but
McCaffrey's been different level.
Completely different.
He's got to be number one next year, barring injury.
but you can't argue it now. He's consistent. He's done it for 2 years in a row. There's not much you can say.
What's my bet of the night, Al? I normally have a look at around this sort of time. Obviously, I'm doing a podcast with Sean. I had a 20 to 1 winner last week in the Discord site, and he picked 3 players. And the first week I did 14 to 1.
We need to be mindful of time as well because we've got about 26 minutes to go before the games kick off. So what we want to do is we'll go on to about 10-2. So that gives us about 16 minutes of time. I'll try and keep a strict time on that.
But if I get time, Adam, I'll post them just before the game starts.
Let's go through a few more of the matchups and then see if any more questions. If you do have questions, do send them in. This is another opportunity to get those questions answered. If you are a new watcher, please subscribe. We seem to have had quite a few people following along. How many people have we got following along with us today?
We've got 7 watching currently.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad.
It's not bad for
rabbiting on for 3 hours.
We have no idea how many people come in and dropped off, but that's really good. So thank you very much for those people still watching. Thank you.
Adam says, I've had Lamar Jackson all year.
You've loved that.
He's on a bye next year. Should I pick up Darnold or Teddy?
Yeah, I think I'd go with Darnold if you can get him.
Because we just talked about this. Darnold's got 5 really good games coming up.
Yeah, I'd go with Darnold.
So even if you play him for a week, I'd then see if you can trade him and say, look at these 4 games he's got.
Yeah.
Hopefully they've had a big game when you played him.
You could be playing some teams. That's what Al raises a great point. Where you could be playing a team that needs a quarterback upside. An extra 5 or 6 points could be the difference between winning or losing in some matchups. So, yeah, great opportunity.
And of course, another player to keep an eye on, obviously, but it's for week 10, and that's Hunt. Hunt will be back week 10. So,
and frankly, at the moment, the way things are looking,
you can't wait till week 9 or 10 because people will start picking him up then.
Yeah.
But it might be worth either this week or next week picking him up
if you can.
So
we're in leagues where they're so big that people have already stashed him away ready.
I know,
but
there are leagues where they won't.
A lot of smaller leagues.
Obviously, don't drop anyone really good for him. But if you got someone like
Well, we got 14
like
minutes.
a dodgy tight end.
We're going to have to keep moving. So let's go for some more matchups.
All right, Jags and Bengals.
I think you have to go with the Jags here.
Well, Bengals haven't won a game yet, have they?
Yeah, I don't fancy them again. They've been terrible. We thought they were going to be terrible this year. They have been. We told you about Mixon. We were worried about him, and it's proved to be the case. It's always the same, innit? Fantasy players on bad teams never good.
But listen to this. Listen to this, right? The Bengals defense ranks 30th against the quarterback, so that's good for Minshew.
Yeah.
They rank 31st against the RB, so that's good for Fournette.
It is.
Where
yeah.
do they rank against wide receivers?
Probably a lot higher, strangely.
Number 1.
Really weird.
Number 1. So that's actually bad for Chark, and not to say he's going to have a bad game, but that's just their rank is number 1 against the throw. Really weird that.
Yeah, it is.
Couldn't believe it.
Big kudos to Fournette, who stayed injury-free up to this point, but it's still early doors. Let's see how it plays out for him. But he's done very well.
Yeah, I like him
but
this
just
week.
no touchdowns, but maybe that'll be this week. He'll get a ton. So who knows?
I mean, the problem with Mixon is obviously he's had injuries, but the game scripts are so bad. They're always behind.
Yeah,
They've got to throw.
And it just doesn't. You haven't got time to run, and that's been what we highlighted before the season.
Not when you got Andy Dalton at quarterback.
No, he's been.
You've always got time to run when you got him in.
You have. That's true. I'd be running. If I was a supporter, I'd be running away.
We're both going for the Jags there. Bills at Dolphins. It's going to be an easy win for the Bills.
It's got to be the Bills. I mean,
Bills
they're
have
just
been a good
too many talented players, too good a team, too well coached, too many things going in their
Enough
favour.
about the Dolphins. What about the?
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. Enough about the Dolphins. Yeah, fair point. I mean, maybe the Bills can squeak a win. Maybe another butchered Dolphin.
Are you playing Devontae Parker this week?
No, never. I never own any shares.
Mark Walton?
No.
Fitzmagic?
No. Don't own
When
any
do you
shares.
ever let you?
Yeah, just none of those shares. Don't like it. Moving on.
But we like John Brown, don't we? You like Singletary. Do you like Gore as well this week?
Yeah, you got to look. If you've got Gore, you play him because the matchup's too juicy. If you think of Singletary more as a flex situation, I've got a few leagues where I need to think, boom, Singletary's a perfect player for that.
And Dolphins allow the most points for any running back, so you can probably play both.
Would it be surprising if Singletary broke one for a long run and a touchdown? No, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't be surprised me if Gore did it, frankly. Or Frank Gore. There you go. Moving on.
He's not doing it. Gore runs slower than I do, Sean.
Yeah,
he's not breaking.
He might break something.
He'd need 11 heart attacks to break one.
We got 12 minutes left. Keep your questions coming in. Thank you very much. If you do get an opportunity, please like the video. It's very important that you do that. And if you are new, subscribe. So come on then. Next matchup. Who we got?
Adam is asking if we are still big on Singletary. I think we've just covered that.
No, of course. Injuries, you can't predict those. What you can tell is talent. And if you've got him in dynasty leagues, you are happy. And you are looking and excited for what this guy can do for you. And even in redraft, yes, he's been away from the game for a few weeks. That happens. You can't predict them. But what we saw excites us. And this is the perfect matchup for you.
And they have the Dolphins.
It's a great matchup. So hopefully he'll really capitalise.
Okay, the Rams at the your team, the Rams at the Falcons.
We've been a bit all over the place. And this is a bit of a weird matchup. Because
you mean the Rams rather than our podcast?
No, our podcast is fine. It's the Rams that worry me. I mean, look at us this year. Like we said, it's a mixed bag for this season. Running game is all over the place. Gurley's been okay, hasn't been exceptional. He has had a thigh injury. I think he's back this week. I still think Henderson's a sneaky play. If you've got a need and you are desperately chasing a game, he's worth a boom.
I don't think you can. Mind you, saying this, the Falcons always give up lots of points to opposing teams. They are an awful defense. Sorry.
Yeah. What's kept them out of being relevant in terms of a team is their defense is awful. Defense has conceded so much.
Defense is rubbish.
There's a lot of fantasy players.
They rank 31 out of 32 against the throw. They rank 13th against the run, 31st against wide receivers.
Can I highlight something important in the Falcons very quickly? I tell you who has stood out to me consistently. Again, I'm glad we highlighted him in the podcast. Is Calvin Ridley as a wide receiver 2 for this year, with a chance to take over the mantle as the season unfolds. That looks good call because he looks good. He really does.
And Matty Ryan's been pretty good as well.
Very, very good. 10 minutes to go, Al.
Every week he's had over 300 yards. And he's had 7 touchdowns last 2 weeks as well.
Yeah, those dome games suit him down to a ground.
And that will probably carry on. This might be a shootout, I think. Yeah, who are we going for, Rams or Falcons? Quickly?
I think this. I know I'm a Rams fan, but I think this one is going to come right down to the wire. And this week, because of the way we are, we'll lose it. So it's the Falcons for me this week. Shame. Because we're the kind of team that will toss it away at the very last.
This guy 12 PPR flex: Latavius Murray, Tevin Coleman, or McLaurin.
Latavius Murray.
Yeah.
I think this week you if you've got shares of him, and this was highlighted.
Mind you, they've got Chicago.
Yeah, but he's the kind of guy who's fantastic. They'll move the ball down the field.
He's not fantastic.
He's good at ball rushing.
He's got a great opportunity.
Yeah, he's got a great opportunity this week to ball rush and get a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, you think he's got to get the majority of the work, even if it's against the Bears. Tevin Coleman's going to share it most.
He can catch the ball, Latavius Murray. He can bulldoze the ball in. He is that kind of play. Yes, it's the Bears defense, but if anybody's going to squeak out the touchdown, it's probably him, I think.
So would you start him ahead of Coleman's going to share it 3 ways with most?
Yeah, 3 ways,
and
which is a
Breeder.
worry. He's an all. This guy's.
We
got the
talked about
numbers.
McLaurin earlier.
Yeah.
He's a good player. It's a tough matchup against the 49ers.
Very tough.
It's a tough one, but we're going to edge just Latavius Murray.
9 minutes to go. Keep your questions coming in. Please send them in. Keep going.
Okay,
Well,
Chargers
anything
at
you've got.
Titans. Now, you talked about Rivers being inconsistent this year.
Yeah, you should fancy him here, though. I mean, the Titans are in a bit of
The
free.
Titans one of the best defenses.
Yeah, they might be, but I would fancy him. Strangely, I fancy him here because I just think the team are they going to move the ball offensively? The Titans. That's the big question.
Well, with Tannehill at quarterback.
Yeah, for Tannehill at quarterback.
All
I
right,
mean,
yeah.
I feel that the Chargers could do something in this one, and they're actually due to get off to a fast start at some point. Sometime this year they've got to do well to start the game. So why not this week?
Okay, so who are you going for, Titans or Chargers? Chargers.
Chargers for me. Yeah,
Oh,
but it is a
going to
close.
go
It
for
is a close game.
it is a close one.
It's a
I'm going to
close
go for the Titans.
Good.
With
Another-
Tannehill.
You like Tannehill?
Remember the Titans.
I will remember the Titans for next week. We can look back on a couple of these and see how we go. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, Baltimore at Seattle. Now, this is a good game, isn't it?
This is close. I love what I've seen from Wilson. Wilson's been, he's been Mr. Consistent. I mean,
He's been brilliant this
how
year.
can we not? We've said this before, right? So,
Is he
you go-
favourite for MVP so far?
well,
today?
yeah, you go back to the beginning.
With Mahomes
you
being
go back
injured.
to the beginning of the podcast when we started talking about quarterbacks for this year to look at. We talked about a few, sure. We talked about the best ones. And I think you can't really argue that Patrick Mahomes. You could see why he was the number one. He's got injured. You can't predict those, but basically he was the number one QB.
I
you can
don't
argue
think
that.
anyone would argue.
You
it.
never argue that. But what you could definitely see is why we always rate Wilson right in that top mix.
He's
every
been
single
superb
year,
this year, hasn't he?
every single time, and he is so consistent.
In fact, both quarterbacks in this match, Lamar Jackson as well.
Brilliant. I mean, Lamar Jackson has proved why we believe running quarterbacks are a shortcut to fantasy success. And not only that, but this guy has got a frigging cannon of an arm. I mean, he really is an interesting player. I mean, going forward into next year, wow. When we talk about you've got every right to improve, should be excellent for next year. Should be a very interesting player. Very excited to see what you can do next year. Good team, that, Baltimore.
Seattle are actually 26th against the run, so that's
Ingram.
quite good for Ingram, yeah.
Yeah, Ingram should have a great
That
day.
quite surprised me.
Yeah, well, it's the problem they've had.
Actually, 29th against the tight end, so that's good for
Yeah.
Andrews.
See, the problem that this is a good matchup for Baltimore. So if you weigh up where they're strong, this matches beautifully for them. So you would fancy them. You would edge them here. 6-point favourites, no matter what the bookies say. I think this is a good one for Baltimore. And I do think Ingram, this could be a day where you see a lot of Ingram.
You're going
And,
for Ravens, are you?
I am.
I'm going for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Home advantage, 12th man and all that.
Yeah, that's fair. But I'm going Baltimore, as I often do. I'll go with these guys because I've seen them enough of them this year to know what they can do. And I think they could do this. They can take them down. That'd be a really good game. It will be a good
That
one.
is going to be a good one to watch.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's settled by just less than 6 points. It's a great game.
And lastly, we'll just talk. We'll probably finish in a couple of minutes, but we'll talk about Saints and Chicago, the last game in sort of the.
We've still got 6 minutes. We could go right the way to 10 too. If you
Well, I've got to do my teams.
Oh, of course. We'll finish then in a couple of minutes' time.
Probably everyone's got to do their teams.
Yeah, true. Okay, 2 more minutes then, ladies and gentlemen. Any more questions,
Saints at
please?
Chicago. Yes, if you've got any last minute questions.
Well, I fancy Chicago this week. I think that would be no surprise.
I think with Kamara out and Breeze out.
Yeah, just think everything suits Chicago well, and they are due a massive kind of defensive performance where everything falls right, touchdown, everything will go right.
I just think it'd be low scoring that game.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. Defenses win it for them, and they win well for them. You wouldn't be surprised if their defense has a really good week. So that's what I think.
Okay.
There we are. Right. Any other questions come through?
And there's no other questions. Just this guy saying thanks. Well, welcome to the channel. If you've liked it, like I say, leave a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe.
They all help. We really appreciate it.
It's quite good fun hanging out with everyone, isn't it? Asking the questions.
We've really
and
enjoyed it.
finding out about
We're going to
people.
be doing a lot more of this next year. I think what we need to do is just very quickly comment on this because it's very important. Really, is obviously we've got big plans moving forward, and if it wasn't for people watching, which we massively appreciate, we've reached a bit of a milestone actually on the podcast, which is we've reached that magical 4,000 hours, which is a big deal for us because it means next year, particularly next year, we will be able to go live earlier in the year as soon as there's news, go live about it, talk with you all about it, and then start to build the channel. There's a lot that we're going to do, so we'll have the draft guide, we'll have a website, there's quite a few things, and we're very excited about that for next season. Still a long way off and there's a lot to do, but it's going to be exciting taking that ride with you, and again, you'll influence the shape of the channel for sure, as it often is the case.
So, thanks Toby, thanks for saying it's a great show. We hope you've enjoyed it. It's been good talking to a lot of you, and we appreciate the questions because,
Well, the time's
It wouldn't
flown.
be a show without
Yeah,
it,
the
would
time
it?
has flown
It
through.
has flown.
really
I can't
has
believe
flown.
that.
And
Can't believe what time it is.
it's fantastic to get that. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you again very soon.
Okay, so see you next time.